Doing? I'm Gabriel Miller, President Americas of Landor&FITCH. Excited as heck to be here. It's 5 o'clock here in Americas, and I guess in the true spirit of popular culture, there's a virtual happy hour having somewhere. So here's a cheers of rosé to you guys. They gave me 10 minutes to talk and about 10 minutes for some Q&A. So let's get started with just a quick preamble. For those who haven't joined us yet, if this is your first entrance into our webinar, we've been following the sun from Sydney to San Francisco. We're about 2/3 of the way through, opened up by Jane Garrity early this morning. And then we got some great global talks from Tim Greenhall, Peter Knapp, our global ECDs, and now we're in the Americas versions. You heard earlier from Thomas Radahl, Mary Zala, Alistair, and Colin Lang prior to me. And now I'm here to talk about brands, experiences, popular culture, what we can learn, things that we can observe and do and not do, and have some fun. So let's rock and roll. Okay, here we go. Okay, pop goes your brand. Let's talk. So there's 5 observations, insights, applications we're going to share today. These are the beginning of a long series of stuff we can talk about. For those playing conference room bingo at home, mark those down, observations, insights, and implications. I'm sure you already won something from that lingo. Well, let's talk about a few things. First and foremost, the shape and sound of our world is changing. And what do we mean by that? Your circle. Think about what's been happening the last, 8, 9, 10 weeks. Your family circle, your business circle, your circle of friends, the circle of trust, Greg. Pop culture reference, but your circle has changed shapes, and your circle has actually now become a square. And what do we mean by that? This is our life now. Your home, your business, your schooling, if you have kids, your entertainment, everything is in these boxes, and that's cool. And we should be learning from that. And I think one of the first things we did is, as you can see, I tried to curate my background a little bit. This is not fake. It's just to show you a reality of where I'm at. And I think that as individuals, as human beings, and as brands, what's as important as us on screen is what's happening behind us, first and foremost. And I think the second thing is we're in this world now, this flat world on our screen, and there's things that we could be doing beyond just those squares as big companies, buying big Zoom accounts or big Teams accounts, that we should think about curating and branding those worlds, because this is the experience that we're going to be having ongoing. And where does marketing fit in that, and where does relevant content fit in that? Some things that we've been thinking about as FPO is that when it's relatable, is there content that's actually potentially streaming inside this square world that we have, updates from our local news affiliates, if that's what me and my group choose, or something that's more relatable to my industry, whether it's healthcare, financial services, telco, et cetera. But something to think about as we see these virtual Zoom calls, Blue Jeans calls going forward. Think about all those squares that we're dealing with. Again, yet another square right here. And how to brand this environment. I'm a big fan of TMZ. And look at, whenever I see the 16:9, they got the fisheye lens that they've built, that's a visual cue to, I don't even have to see the words TMZ on there, that they are building their own brand recognition. There's no reason why we as brands and companies cannot be doing the same thing. Again, it's another mnemonic, another device, another sacred asset we should be thinking about as we start to evolve our brand reputation and our experience reputation. Now, I talked about the shape of our world, but how about the sound of our world? Let me see if this works real quick. See here. You guys know what that is. I have to play and put the logo on for you. That's Netflix sound mnemonic. That's sonic branding. We're going to see a lot more of this. I have a Ring doorbell outside of my house. When I hear those chimes, I know that someone's coming to my door. It's instant Pavlovian sign that, okay, Ring doorbell is helping me respond to something. Think about the way your Apple computer opens up, your HBO, which has been doing it for a long time. But these sound devices are going to be extremely powerful and more strong. Where is it going in the future? Think about, for those of us who may pop up with a beverage every once in a while, your beer can, your hard seltzer. those are unique. Those are all the same sounds right now. Why aren't we, uniquely trying to codify and brand some of those sounds? Sound is going to be the next sensorial boom that we see. It's happening already, and we're excited to be part of that. Number two, distance makes your brand grow fonder. I wrote that headline. It's a crappy headline, but here's what I mean by that. Let's take social distancing a step further. 6 feet apart, 7 feet apart, 10 feet apart. What are those who have the means start? What have they started to do already? They started to social distance themselves away from cities. This right here is a billboard that's actually welcoming Kanye West to Cody, Wyoming. Him and his 2 mega ranches that he's purchased out there. Now they're starting to see an influx of people starting to think about real estate out there in Wyoming. James Terrell, one of my favorite artists, obviously building the Crater out in Nevada. People are starting to migrate out towards that area. If you don't know James Terrell, you will know Drake from Hotline Bling. Yes, it's an old reference, not to say that he appropriated James Terrell's artwork without his permission, which he did, but James Terrell was cool with that. That's all good. But you are starting to see this idea of social distancing is actually something that we're embracing and that we're becoming okay with. What's the implication of that? That you start to think about our vacations, our maybe virtual vacations, where we go next. Do we want to go to New York next, London next, Paris next? Yes, there's going to still always be hot spots and hubs, but there is now an acceptableness of let's get away, let's go explore. Barbados was actually one of our clients. I'm not trying to shill them here, but you think about, I want to go, on the exploratory journey, get to a faraway island where there is distance, where I can feel free, where I can feel it, where I can explore. It's the new frontier of travel and the idea of distancing that we're becoming more comfortable with, and we're excited by that. I'm going fast, but let's see. Relevancy is king. No, relatability is king, and here's why. Perfect example. If you don't know, now you know, and you should look this up. Gal Gadot and everybody singing Imagine in a boxed video screen, to all of us around the world. Tone deaf. I call this the punch you in the face test. This is called your best friend punches you in the face test. If you and 4 or 5 of your 6 best friends got on the Zoom call or a Blue Jeans call or a WebEx call with me right now, and you all started singing the Imagine video to me as a way to make me feel better about overcoming the COVID crisis, would I feel better about that? No, I think I want to punch you in the face. And look, no offense to all these celebrities, I love all of them in their own right, and I just think that there's a difference between trying to be relevant and allowing us to seek you out for something you've done versus coming to me in my world. I'm not a big Fortnite gamer. My son's a big Fortnite gamer. We have boys and girls in the office who are big gamers. A brand like Travis Scott in his own right saying, I'm going to immerse myself in your world, and I'm going to bring you some entertainment while you are trying to deal with the stuff that you are going through. This is a way of being more relatable, a way that people go, I get that. Yes, it lasted 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, but the PR value and the extendability and the stickiness of that happens long after that. Those brands, think about, not to be cliche and talk about, being part of the conversation, conference room bingo, check, but being relatable and being like really in the moment. Brands that do this very well, everyone knows that Wendy's rock and rolls in this situation. From their Twitter account, when they're calling it like it is, they understand the voice of who they are, inserting themselves in Animal Crossing via Twitch. It's something that was very profound, but that's a brand that's actually taking actions and not just saying, hashtag we're all in this together. Yes, we are in this together, but it's about, taking actionable steps and maintaining your brand voice while doing it. Thomas Adult talked about brand purpose earlier. Colin talked about, your corporate culture internally. These are brands that are not breaking from their corporate culture, but they are extending out a little bit, and we are excited by that. It's an acceleration, and we'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. Number 4, if relatability is king, creativity is still the queen. Think about chess, most powerful piece on the board, and think about social media platforms. TikTok is killing it right now. Obviously, you think about the platforms, you think about them in your world. Close your eyes and you're like, hey, Twitter is for your news and your haters. Got that. Facebook's for the older folks like me. Instagram is for those guys and girls who are trying to show their fake lives. No offense, I do it too occasionally. But TikTok is about express your creativity here and now and be open with it and have fun with it. Whether you're, a normal human being, a celebrity, the TikTok is really rocking and rolling right now and really having some success. And brands, as we know, have not infiltrated that yet, but it's going to come. It came with Instagram. Instagram has done a good job with how they incorporate branding and content in a way that doesn't take over your feed. But look to TikTok, look to that audience to see like what we can learn from them. The creativity is there. This is just a picture, some snapshots of me this morning, just doing a few things like gardening and big and crocheting. I'm a damn good ukulele player, but it's about our creativity, and every one of us as human beings want to express that creativity. I think right here is what we'll talk about is that let's stop talking to ourselves as end users, customers, consumers. I understand B2B, B2C, there are differences. In the end, we're all talking to human beings, and human beings have many layers, many facets. And I think that, as Colin mentioned earlier, it's great that like you're in my house right now. I can't see you guys. Like you are seeing, the human being in me. Yes, I'm here doing a business meeting right now, but this is part of who I am and who we are. And people want to express that creativity. Even if someone says they're not creative, they're lying to you. We all are. And I think we're seeing more of that. And it's something for us to embrace. And creativity does not have to be a logo, visual identity, naming, nomenclature, a great branded experience. It can be a store. It can be a store. And this right here is actually, full disclosure, a client of ours, Singtel, out in Singapore at Telecom, creating a box during this time. It was actually a store that we dropped in Singapore that's totally unmanned, 24 hours, safe and secure, cleans itself at nighttime. You come in, top up your minutes, you're on screen with touchless contacts. This is a way of a brand responding and reacting and being relevant in the moment and being relatable to an audience that still needs their services. This is creativity at its best, and we're excited by that. Other quick examples, I know a lot of people have seen this, but IKEA, I know Alistair mentioned his love of IKEA earlier. They sell furniture you put together, but let's be relatable and creative in a way that's meaningful. What's happening right now? Our family, our kids, we're quarantined, we're at home. It's been a few months. What are we doing? I've made a couple forts. I made a couple teepees. I think I've made a wampum once also. But IKEA is having fun. Saying, look, use our furniture, and here's how you can use our furniture to make a fortress, make a house, make a tent, etc. And it got some good traction. They're being relevant, they're being relatable, they're being creative, and they're staying in their own voice, which is a great win for IKEA. And finally, it's about getting deep locally and personally. And not to get more emotional, but Etsy, a new client of ours. I'm very friendly with the CMO there. And look, everyone was saying, oh well, what's going to happen to the online retailers, etc. Etsy had the best April they've had, I think, since their inception, because they were able to pivot, reach out, speak to their sellers, and have local businesses start to maybe change their model for a short term, selling PPE, and been a great success story for Etsy. So much so that the way that they look at, and let's digress. Let's get off script for a second, which I never have a script. But the Amazons and the Walmarts, they're awesome. I think that we've seen here that there is absolutely a place for them, and people who love to hate them, don't talk to them. They are essential. They are loved brands, and we need them now more than ever. And they've shown us to do a great job. At the same time, we also are loving what's happening locally and personally. And a brand like Etsy, just a quick personal story, a great employee of ours, her father passed away 2 days ago from COVID. They were looking for a gift, and obviously they can't be with each other. They were looking for a gift to be able to give her so she could be consoled. Going around a lot of sites, couldn't find anything that was very personal. They found a seller on Etsy who actually took the time and recommended, how about a teddy bear that can act as someone who gives you a virtual hug in a time that your parents and your family can't be there for you? And not only did the seller help the team with delivering and providing that teddy bear, but the way that she took pictures of the packaging process, sent a personal note in there. It showed that, listen, this is about action speaking louder than words. Like, we're human beings. We feel each other. I feel you. and we're gonna be successful. We're gonna get out of this together, and that we feel for you. But I think about being local, being personal. We're seeing a lot more of that. Everyone saw the UN brief that came in. Over 17,000 entries. This was one of ours. And again, you know, being creative, being personal, but doing something that matters. Think about those who are underprivileged, don't have the necessary ability to connect to technology the way that we are doing here right now. So let's use another form of communication. Let's think about sign language or window language or talking windows. Think about creating a virtual language system that allows people to talk to each other. So you're seeing at the top left there, raising an alarm. Drape over a red cloth, a red towel, something that shows you need help, you're in distress. Paint some rainbows, hang some flags to show that you want to spread happiness for the frontline workers, etc. You want to chat, have a talk with Post-its on the windows. Put out a teapot and a cup that knows that we want to talk. Like there's new vernaculars, there's new shorthand that's going to happen. And from the dialogue in previous conversations, this idea of the new normal, I agree, it's normal. It's like saying in digital marketing, nah, it's just marketing. It's accelerated, what the world is now, and virtual meetings and talking like this are part of the next chapter. So again, being personal, keeping it local. The other thing I'll say is that I made the mention about the Amazons and the Walmarts before, as those essential companies, essential brands. Look at what we've seen with local businesses now. The quick contactless delivery. Hey, quickly, locally, we'll pick up your local produce and not touch it. Drop it off at your door. Local restaurants using their wait staff to deliver for you because that wait staff is not making tips on in-house dining. Local is the backbone of America, and more and more now we are seeing our communities, extend a hand out and to be able to support those local communities. We're going to keep seeing that. Yes, it might dwindle some when we get back to the next chapter, but supporting local is now more popular than ever. Yeah, I talk fast, I mumble, I ramble. So what's my quick takeaway here? What would I like you to remember during the last, 7.5 minutes? It's quite simple. If we're not already, let's embrace and learn from popular culture. It's here. It's making us, a lot more relatable and a lot more relevant. And what it is, it's a window into the full spectrum of what it means to be human. As I said before, is that, we tend to, as business folk, talk about, the end user, the customer, the demographic, the age profile, the psychographic profile. We're human beings. We're sitting here. I'm having a glass of rosé. Good. I got my dog sleeping behind me. This is part of my full spectrum of being a human. And popular culture is helping me embrace most of that. And we as businesses and brands and companies need to be doing the same thing. As I said already, it keeps us more relatable. It helps, as Colin mentioned, those hallway conversations, the water cooler talk. It helps us have those dialogues in real time in the now, and it sparks creativity, in ourselves. I was having a phone call yesterday morning with my boss's boss, and my boss, Jane Garrity's done a great job the last year and a half of bringing these two companies together, of Landor&FITCH. Her boss, Mark Reed, who oversees WPP, we were in a meeting together with the CEO of a B2B client. He used the term woke, and we all looked at each other like, that is awesome. This is a real human being we're talking to. Yes, on paper he is a CEO of a Fortune 10 company, but this guy says the word woke to my CEO. That's relatable, and we all have a laugh about that, and that's just about expressing ourselves as human beings, and it's the most exciting time for us for that. Last 2 points is that yes, we're all looking for observations and insight. Always keeping a finger on the pulse, another bingo word, of what's going on in popular culture. It gives us foresight into what's going on with today's audiences. And look at right now, some of the examples I gave, might not be for every company, might not be for every, let's say a big B2B company, but think about the audiences of tomorrow. These generations are growing up, and we need to understand what makes them tick now, what makes them tick later. And by staying involved with it, it lets us have a better understanding of where the world is going. And we think it's very important. And finally, and maybe the most importantly, I think this has been the theme throughout everybody from Sydney, up to us right now is that it pushes us to accelerate how we operate. How many of us on this phone call, I don't know how many there are, I think there's about 500 folks right now, have used the word agile incorrectly the last 3 months? We all have. Then think about what we have all done in the last 8 weeks versus what we have all accomplished in the last 10 years. We have been pushed to be faster and accelerate with what we're doing, make decisions faster. And guess what? We're not failing. We are succeeding. Whereas the line that Tony Hsieh at Zappos says, hey, I failed my way all the way to success. We are feeling more comfortable now with the idea of taking chances, taking risks, putting stuff out there, see what sticks. And if it doesn't stick, falls away, get rid of it. But we're accelerating and we're feeling more comfortable in that. Remember 1 or 2 years ago, we talked about, can we all work from home? Oh my gosh, everyone's going to slack off and not work. Guess what? We're actually working harder than ever now. And it proves it works. So I think it's about accelerating. It's not new, it's just faster. The future caught up to us faster. And we're super excited about that. And all I can say is that's pretty damn cool.